The Terrible Two Go Wild. That is a question I should be asking you, Miles Murphy, even though I already know the answer, which is that I'm obviously once again intended victim of one of your ridiculous pranks. I seem to be stuck in a principal trap. We're not trying to catch principals, Miles said. You're not, Principal Barkin brightened. Well, I must say I'm pleased to hear it, since I loved we gotten over our unfortunate dramatic after our last adventures, and Principal Barkin, referring a bunch of stuff from the book too. Although I'm realizing that now we never made it clear what our relationship was going forward. Whatever we remain in Angstis, whenever we join together in a new and permanent secret society called the Terrible Threes, Miles. Yes, join together in a new permanent secret super society, the Terrible Three. We definitely didn't do that, said Miles. Principal Barkins frowned. Of course not. Well, I suppose we'll all sort that out when school starts again. You mean we're not in trouble, Principal Barkin? Niles asked. No, this is not a principal trap, and since it's summer, I'm technically not even your principal, so I could probably call me Barry. But Barry, said Miles. I invited Niles to call me Barry, said Principal Barkin. Not you, Miles. But Principal Barkin, said not Miles. I thought a principal was a principal always, even on Sundays. Who said that? You did. Principal Barkin nodded. Sounds like me. Wise words. Very wise words. Not Miles, you need to loosen up. We're not talking about Sundays. We're talking about summertime. I mean, who knows what day of the week it is? It was Sunday. Plus, we're in the woods, boys. There's no rules in the woods. Besides, whatever the Yanni Valley Park District in Florence is, hold on. I grabbed a volunteer from a little ranger station in the parking lot and put it somewhere in my backpack. Ah, here it is. Wow, that's a lot of rules. But these are mostly rules about fire safety. And I'm talking about rules of society. In the woods, bond there is dissolved. There's no pedestals that elevate principals above high students, which is a principal's rightful place in town. There's no obstacles separating father and son. Even that son is surly and disrespectful, partly because of homeless, probably. Although sometimes I worry that there is more going on there, a darkness that it just can't seem to. Principal Barkin tailed off. Are you talking about Josh? Asked Niles. Josh Barkin? No, just the hysterical father and son. In any case, the woods are a national place for a couple of rapscallions like yourselves. Out here, everything gets turned on its head. Thus, I found myself looking up at you, Miles Murphy. Whether in school, I'm always looking at you both metaphonically, in the sense that I disapprove your general attitude and manner of dress, especially your t-shirts. And literally in the sense that I'm much taller than you. Out here, I couldn't punish you if I wanted to, which I don't. Principal Barkin was surprised to hear himself speak the sentence, and even more surprised that it felt true. Now, said Principal Barkin, how do I get out of this hole? We had a ladder, said Niles, but we left it back in the forest. Ah, said Principal Barkin, I see. And so Miles and Niles reached down into the hole. Miles grabbed Principal Barkin's right arm with his both hands, and Niles grabbed Principal's left hand with both his hands. And they pulled. Principal Barkin used his leg to scramble up the side of a pit, and the boys lifted their principal up. We did it, said Principal Barkin. He looked back into the hole. But may I ask, why did you set this trap? He asked. If not to prank me. We don't just prank you, Principal Barkin. Right, said Principal Barkin, of course. We dug this hole for defense, said Miles. Defense? Niles gave Miles a look. Like, should we tell him? Miles gave Niles a look like, yeah, it's kind of weird that we should tell him, but yeah. It's a fortification. The area is our base. Your base? Principal Barkin was delighted. But who would attack your base? Niles gave Miles a look like we probably shouldn't tell him everything, though. Some kids, said Miles. We took their flag and they're trying to get it back. A giant game of capture the flag in the woods? It's a shame you aren't friends with my son, Josh Barkin. This is just the kind he would love. Although knowing Josh, he'd probably take things too far. To be honest, I don't know what he would love anymore, but it's kind of thing he would have loved when I was a boy, if my father allowed me into the woods, which he didn't. Your father allowed you into these woods? Sure, said Niles. My mom does, said Miles. It's just me and her. Oh, said Principal Barkin. Right, yes, I'm sorry. Miles shrugged. It's fine. Well, anyway, these fortifications are dangerous. Niles smiled. The skillful warrior does not rely on enemies not coming, but on preparedness. Was that? Principal Barkin asked. Was that me again? Sun Tooth. Oh, well, it's still very wise. He checked his brand new hiking pocket watch. Well, boys, I should be heading off. Where are you going? Miles asked. West. Where's west? Oh, said Principal Barkin, I don't know. Barry, said Niles. What are you doing out here? That's a very good question, Niles. Principal Barkin sat down on a rock. Every summer, my son, Josh Barkin, and I spend 2 weeks out here. It's our annual father-son outdoor Barkin bonding experience. This year, Josh denied he couldn't make it because he had summer camp, which I believe is not too far from here. Anyway, then I invited my wife, Mrs. Barkin, for an annual husband-wife outdoor Barkin bonding experience. She also denied she doesn't really like outdoors, but I had already rented a cabin and spent quite the money on brand new camping equipment. So I'm on the first day of my first annual of very outdoor Barkin bonding experience. I'm exploring these woods, and myself, when you were exploring whatever nature or yourself, you never know what you'll stumble upon. Your base, for instance, in that hole. Although, to be completely frank, I was gonna stumble upon my cabin and eat some lunch. Wait, are you staying at Bentisa cabin? Miles asked. I am. You're going in the wrong direction. That's the way to a couple of miles. Well, it appears I'll miss lunch. Principal Barkin shook his plastic baggie. Don't worry about me, boys. I got some Barkin scoggage to tide me over on my way. Scoggin? Miles asked. It means trail mix, carefully prepared according to my family recipe. Peanuts, almonds, cashews, and pines. That sounds like just canned mixed nuts. Niles. Yes, said Principal Barkin, tapped the side of his head. But I'm not in the perfect positions. Miles and Niles didn't need to give each other a look. Principal Barkin said, Miles, do you want to have lunch with us? Principal Barkin had a rule: never eat lunch in front of students. He firmly believed that letting students see him eat would diminish in authority. He was not one of those faculty members who denied in the cafeteria because they longed to be related to students, nor did not eat in the teacher's lounge because the principal needed to wield power not just over students but over staff as well. No, during the school year, Principal Barkin ate in his office alone a principal power lunch. The school was out, and hadn't he just given a remarkably good speech about rules in the forest? What are you having? Asked Principal Barkin. And that's how Niles, and Principal Barkin came to sit on a blanket with little Green Glade, enjoying a lunch of tomato sandwiches and sugar cereals. It was truly the kind of the thing that would happen in only the woods. These Arnold Parmas are ice cold, said Principal Barkin. Delicious.